Hello, my beautiful fragrance family. Dustin here, fragrance fan. Go ahead and do me a solid and click that like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, and I'm just going to keep on bringing you guys these budget-friendly fragrance reviews, that $40-ish and $100 range. Most of these, way less than that. A good number of these you can find at your local rack stores, and the good news for us in the fragrance world, all three of these brands that I'm going to talk about have popped up in the rag stores in some way, shape, or form. Whether it be a body spray, actual fragrance, whatever. They're actually popping up there. So that's really good news to us. So in my opinion, Lattafa, Armaf, and Afnan are what I call the big three. The three most notorious, at least, and potentially the biggest clone fragrances on the market today. There's other very big, notable ones. Fragrance World, Paris Corner, Maison Alhambra. I didn't want to include them because they're a good fighting contender because it's part of Lattafa. So we're just going to talk about these three. I'm going to give two fragrances from each one of these houses and then throw out some shout outs to other hyped up or well-worthy fragrances that these houses make, so you guys can help me make a decision in the end which one you think is the best house in the Middle East as far as these affordable clone houses. I don't mean like Amouage niche companies. I'm talking about these affordable clone houses. So, enough of the introduction. Let's get straight into this thing and talk about one of the most notorious fragrances of all with these, and that's Armaf Club de Nuit. This is the Eau de Toilette version. I do have the limited edition, but it is unable to make this list because if you're watching this, yeah, I just don't have it back yet. So we can talk about this one. It's worth being on this list regardless, even though it's the Eau de Toilette, and the limited edition is past that budget-friendly fragrance. I mean, it's still budget-friendly, but it's not that $40-ish $100 range. It just surpasses that. So this one you can find for like $30, and anybody who's anybody knows that this is a Creed Aventus clone. When you smell it right away, you know that it is pineapple, black currant, heavy on the birch, rose. A lot of people don't talk about the rose. There's rose in here, there's ambroxan. It's a smoky citrus pineapple bomb. That's what this is. Heavy on the smoke, heavy on the compliments, heavy on the longevity and the projection. This thing really set Armaf on the map. Rightfully so, heavy hitting, one of the best heavy hitting for the price. The Eau de Toilette, I don't even mind the opening. A lot of people don't, some people do, but there's no denying that this thing is phenomenal for $27. They set the bar high. A lot of people have tried getting there and surpassing it. Some have, but I mean, this thing is still, it's in the greats. In my opinion still. Also from Armaf, we'll just go with another one from the Club de Nuit line. Club de Nuit Sillage, Silver Mountain Water Clone. This thing I think is a lot louder and longer lasting than the original. I've never wore the original, but I've smelled it plenty of times and it just doesn't seem like it's pushing off like this one. This thing pushes off pretty hard. I think it's a little heavier on the currant and the florally aspect. Whereas the original, I think, is a little bit more crisp and watery, and this one is a little bit richer, sharper, and more florals. But nonetheless, definitely a good clone of that very expensive fragrance. This one's in like the $30 range, long-lasting. Just, it's overall a heavy-hitting fragrance, and this is another one that was hyped up pretty good from Armaf. Also, I wrote these down because I'm not going to remember all of them. I'll forget some of them. Let me just read off some of the ones that could easily make this list. You got the whole Club de Nuit line. I mean, you got the Icon, Urban Elixir, the whole Odyssey line. You got like the Mandarin Sky. You know, there's a bunch of the Odyssey ones that are really good. There's a bunch of there's like Ego, the Ego line. There's like a Tiger one and stuff, which is an Aventus clone, a very good one at that too. What else you got? You got the Private Key. You got, if you know me, Hunter Intense, my love affair for Hunter Intense. That thing is a compliment machine, and it's like $20, and it lasts a decent amount of time. Playful Aventus Invictus kind of a concoction going on there. You got Tre Nuit. They just have put out so many. I mean, the Ventana, There's the whole niche line. Like, they're not niche, but they're in their little round bottles. They've got a bunch of heavy hitting fragrances, so Armaf is definitely one of the biggies. They actually have in Fragrantica 259 fragrances in their database. So, worthy MV on this list. Next, let's go ahead and talk about Lattafa. Notorious Lattafa. And forget how beat up this bottle is. It's been around the block. I've used it. If you could see the liquid, it's probably halfway gone. And this is a winter fragrance. I'm in Florida, so there's not many opportunities to wear these things. Assad. The Dior Sauvage Elixir clone. This thing was hyped up to a pretty high level. And one of the reasons being because it's very long lasting. It's pretty good in the projection. It gets you 85% of the way into that elixir category, which is a wonderful winter fragrance. Somebody said this smells like an Armenian sex trafficker type thing, which is kind of funny because it does have a very, like, I don't know, seductive, sexy kind of a smell to it, and it's a bit mysterious. Heavy on the clove side. I think this is a little bit like on more of a spicy clove, sweet side, more than elixir itself. I think elixir has more of an ambroxan feel, whereas this has more of a clove feel. But nonetheless, this is in the rack stores for like 20 bucks, and for what it is, it's hitting really hard. And again, the juice level is probably down to here with this thing. I wear this thing a lot, and I'm looking forward to busting this one out again. Another one. Actually, funny fact about this next fragrance. The most searched for brand on Fragrantica is Dior. The most searched for fragrance specifically is Lattafa Khamrah. The number 2 most specific fragrance searched for is Kilian's Angel Share. And that's something that the clone is searched for more than the original fragrance. And that's what we're going to talk about right now, is the clone. Angel Share, the Angel Share clone, Khamrah by Lattafa. So the difference between this and the original, in my opinion, is the original has more of the apple pie feel. Like the apple pie in the original is like right up in the front. Whereas this one, it's like spicier up in the front and the apple pie brandy kind of thing in the back. Boozy, spicy, apple pie, woody, sweet, date night, scrumptious, warm, cozy, long lasting, high performance, compliment magnet, overall wonderful for the cooler weather, especially like dates and stuff like that. Leaves are starting to change color. This is the fragrance for that. So rightfully so, this one was hyped up for a very good reason. Some other heavy hitters from Lattafa, food for thought. Al Neshama, the Initio Paragon clone. Al Neshama Caprice, La Nuit de l'Homme Electrique clone. Mahir Legacy, the Parfums de Marly Sedley clone. A very good bottle, or a very good clone of it. And my bottle was shattered, and my heart was shattered when I dropped it and shattered that thing. It's terrible because it's wonderful smelling citrus, fresh, spicy, juicy, green, bright, fresh kind of a fragrance. Love that thing. Amir, you guys know, if you watch my channel, you know my love affair with Al Noble's Amir. The whole Bait Al Oud, that whole line of fragrances. I got the Sublime. That thing is a Kool-Aid, gelatin, awesome, a little bit more feminine, but still wonderful smelling fragrance with great performance. Fakar, very cheap. YSL, EDP, EDT / type of clone. They got 243 fragrances in the Fragrantica database. So another heavy hitting Middle Eastern clone house, very notorious, notable, and has to be on this list. Forgive my throat, it keeps on drying. I don't know why, so bear with me on this. Up next, the house that I think is kind of not necessarily slept on, but almost overlooked as far as being in the category of these big three. And I'm talking about Afnan. Let's go ahead and start things off with Supremacy Not Only Intense. So this is another Aventus clone, but it's much less like Aventus than Club de Nuit. This one is way richer, more inky on that bergamot, or not bergamot, the black currant side. Man, I mean, this thing is rich and it's way thicker. It's way thicker. It's not as bright. It has all like the same elements. Way toned down on the smoke. There is a smoky accord in this, but it's way toned down on this. This one's just way deeper on that black currant inky kind of thing going on. Good performance. I wouldn't say, in my opinion, that it outperforms Club de Nuit. At least not this. These newer batches of, like, I got this in August or something of 2024. So these batches are good, but they're not the beast like they were talking about. Maybe they never were. I don't know. But this particular one is not. Either way, smells phenomenal. And it lasts a satisfying amount of time. It's a 7-hour fragrance on me. So definitely worthy of being on this list. Supremacy Not Only Intense. The whole Supremacy line, by the way, is phenomenal. Also, you know I'm going to put this thing on here. If you guys know me, Turathi Blue. I have to. This is one of my most versatile, one of my favorite fragrances that I have in my collection. The more I wear this thing, the more I love it. Look at the juice level. Juice level does not lie. The only problem I have with this thing is the fact that it does not want to stand up. It'll stand up, but the itty bitty little bottom, super heavy top, heavy atomizer cap. The only problem I have with this thing. Other than that, this has that grapefruit, spicy, like amber combination. There's something about that crispy, spicy amber combination. It's sweet, it's citrus, it's spicy. To put it simple, there's some woods, there's some musk, but mostly it's grapefruit, sweet amber with some like red spices sprinkled in there. Super high in the compliments, classy freshy at that. Decent in performance, not a beast, but 6 to 8 hours depending on how you spray it and depending on what the weather looks like. I've seen this thing vary. First times I started wearing it, I was like blown away by how long it was lasting, and now it's like it's hit or miss. So, but it's pretty good at performing. But this thing definitely deserves to be on this list because it was hyped up a little bit. The Bulgari Tigar clone. And just a wonderful smelling fragrance. By the way, Lattafa has Bulgari Tigar clones as well. Other ones that is in the Afnan line that really deserves a little bit of notoriety since I'm not featuring them specifically in this video. You got, again, Atlas. I forgot about that one with Lattafa. The beast monster, Atlas. Anyhow. I keep looking down because I'm looking at these. Like I said, I'm going to forget them. There's just so many of them. So forgive me. I have my notes here. They're my notes, not anybody else's or anything like that. So with Afnan, you got 9 p.m. You got Rare Carbon. You got the 9 a.m. You got the historic Omeda, or I forget how to pronounce that thing. Turathi Brown. They have a good amount of very, very good smelling, hyped up fragrances. So that's why I believe they deserve to be on here, because the ones that are hyped up from them, super hyped up. I think Turathi Blue was very hyped up. I think Supremacy Not Only Intense was extremely hyped up. 9 p.m., super hyped up. Even 9 a.m., like all these ones that I just listed, except for Turathi Brown and the historic, all the others, Rare Carbon, they were hyped up like crazy. And so far, everything that I've smelled from Afnan is really good. They're really good. So even if they're not hyped up, I have not been disappointed by a single Afnan fragrance. So overall, which one do I think deserves to be the king? Well, this is just my opinion. And maybe it's just because I own so many more of them. I do plan on exploring more in all these other fragrances, but to me, the winner has to go to Lattafa. It just does. I've got a bunch of them. Some of them are better than others, but man, they just got, I mean, I absolutely love Amir. I love my Al Nashama. I love my Assad, my Khamrah. There's just so many of them from Lattafa that I have that I absolutely love. Whereas like, you know, Armaf, they have some that I absolutely love, but some I'm just like, it's decent, you know. Afnan, I love every one of their fragrances too. They almost beat Armaf. Like, I kind of feel like Afnan is in second place, but I think the Club de Nuit line kind of helps Afnan, Armaf keep their number 2 title. Icon, that thing's fire. Urban Elixir, super nice smelling. So I think that kind of helps. And the fact that they got twice the amount of fragrances, that kind of helps Armaf stay in second place. But as far as bang for your buck, I think Afnan might take the cake. But overall, Lattafa is the winner in my book. This sister company, Maison Alhambra, might got him though. We might talk about that in the next one, Maison Alhambra versus Lattafa. You let me know if you think that'll be a good one, right? So yeah, this was actually a pretty tough video to record because my voice kept on drying out. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, that's my final thoughts on, well, I don't know what you would call it, my conclusion on the big 3. So with that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always. And until next time.